Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Console Tier 1. It is Season 17. It's Round 8 of the Championship as we take in the Austrian Grand Prix from, of course, the Red Bull Ring. My name is James Head. I'm delighted to be taking you through the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Friday evening. Gareth is up in York. Might see our championship winner potentially up there tonight as well. Joining me in the commentary box, though, this is no Tuesday night. It is Jota. Jota, how you doing?
Yeah, good evening. It's a bit of an unusual place to be, this commentary box. Actually, the seats are a lot more comfortable than they are in Legacy Division. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be an absolute blinder, isn't it? We've got 19 drivers in, expecting that 20th in imminently for what will be, potentially, that title-winning fight for the title in Division 1. This is going to be a blinder for sure.
It is going to be a blinder indeed. And that man there, the Yorkshireman, quite literally, Kai Pearson, taking the race win last time out in China. Of course, I was there alongside Gareth for the action. It was a really, really good race towards the end of the race. Venom there in second, Quantum third, Cameron Doughton fourth. All four of them reopposing here tonight. Drivers are just filtering out onto track now for qualifying, so we'll get to that in a second. But you want to know what the standings are looking like coming into tonight. Kai Pearson leads the way on 138 points. Cameron Dowd's in second on 79. This is going to be an uphill task, I think, for Cameron Dowd. Even though it's one of his favourite tracks, Kai Pearson is going to be there or thereabouts, I think, to win the championship. He only needs to outscore Cameron, I think, by 10 points, and Joe Murphy basically to be out of the points for Kai Pearson to wrap up the championship coming into tonight. So Kai, it's all easy said and done, but Austria does like to throw up a few curveballs there and then.
Yeah, I mean, China was obviously a really, really good race for a lot of drivers out there as well. Judy had an absolute blinder to get into the top 7, actually, in the last way out. But, towards the front, Kai Pearson, it's not just in Tier 1 as well, of course. It's across the entire sort of realm, isn't it? Oh, it looks like it's Judy getting rather not Judy, someone getting a 5-place grid penalty as a result of colliding with Judy. I think it was Stonks. But, absolute blinder for the driver at the front at the moment, because he's not just having an absolute blinder in this division, across Legacy Division as well, and across of any other tiers, in racing at the moment. He's absolutely flying high at the moment. So this is a real opportunity for Kai to really run away with it. The question is will he or won't he? I think with plenty of other drivers willing to try and earn some points tonight. Also keep a firm eye on other people around as well. One person I'll be keeping an eye on, my fan favourite of Gatkowski in the Aston Martin.
Definitely so, and I'm going to keep on board with then a lot of Keki on his lap up the hill in towards the right-hand return number 3. Cloudcover already building over the circuit, so it might mean drivers rushing out on track. We might get a threat of rain potentially in qualifying, I wonder. Keki though down the hill in towards turn number 4 now at Schlossgold, my favourite corner to pronounce, and also nearly to make a mistake at. My God, Keki outside line, through turn number 4. He has rightfully, I think, backed off that lap time. We've got the Williams up next. I think that might be Schumacher, if I'm not mistaken, on a lap time. Flopman was down in that middle sector. Schumacher's coming through the middle sector split now, 44.3 in the middle sector, so good bank of time being set so far in this middle sector. The Williams man who was doing really well until he had an incident in China. We'll bring you to speed with the stewards reports in a second as well. But Schumacher now coming through the final couple of corners, might be racing as a child hero on the run to the line on F124. And he goes a 103.3, goes quickest out of everyone. There's an Alfa Romeo now on the run to the line. I think that's BLT Joe Murphy to go second. So he's behind Schumacher early on. Gatkowski there goes now quickest, 103.336. Matthew Hall is coming through the middle sector. Cameron Dowd is fastest out of everyone in the middle sector at the minute, 44.2 in that middle sector. Kai Pearson as well is through the middle sector, and he's around the same point as Cameron Dowd, but Gatkowski out on top. Tim there in second, Schumacher there in third. We've got, though, 2 title protagonists coming through the final couple of corners. Cameron Dowd, big snap of oversteer. Coming out of turn number 10 on the run to line, goes quickest, but is he going to be outdone now by Kai Pearson on the run to line? Kai comes to the line, and he does go quickest, 103.272. Already in the ballpark for a thriller here in Austria.
Yeah, 12 thousandths of a second separating Kai Pearson from Cameron Dowds in that particular occasion. Though, as Shizu Tom going fastest as well by just a small margin of 4 thousandths of a second. Really close between, actually, you'd have to argue between the top 8 at the moment, who are all within, very, very close within, just around about of a tenth of each other. But a very disappointing lap, actually, initially from the south of Joe Murphy, as a driver that's wanted to keep himself in the title contention. The man needs to win this race tonight. So to be in 14th in Q1 of the initial, after the initial input, I would argue here, unless he had a little mistake somewhere, the Sauber's going to be really concerned about maybe the rest of this qualifying session, maybe even the race, especially now with the overcast conditions coming in. Humidity starts to rise. The track conditions are not going to be at their best,
Definitely not. Tudi's actually on his run toward the line now to actually set a lap time up on his run. Keki is down on the lap time as well. I think he's actually coming into the pit lane right there, coming up the hill and towards turn number 2 even. But Tudi now on this run. I did say the cloud cover was building over the circuit. Look what's happened. The cloud cover is completely over the circuit now, and Tudi set a 16.1 in the first sector, so already noticeable in terms of the difference in terms of drivers getting out on track, getting the clear runs, getting the sun right at the start of the session. Track now getting cooler by the minute as we come now down towards turn number 4 with Josh Gould on board with Tudi. He has got a Mercedes just in his way off the left-hand side, and it is raining out on track. So no wonder drivers that want to hurry out coming out the pit lane. Expected rain within the first 5 minutes. Rain has come within the first 5 minutes. 44.5 in the middle sector. This track is just going to go. That might be end of qualifying right there. Joe Murphy, Stonks and Lou also on outlaps. Tudi now coming up the hill in towards turn number 9 at the ring curve. Now coming through the Red Bull Mobile curve at turn number 10. And not looking too bad, but he invalidates. Coming out the final corner, the Romanian on the run line would have been a 103.604, and he would have gone 15th with that lap time. So probably better to invalidate, to be honest, than not actually set a lap. That's not really competitive.
Yeah, going to be difficult now to try and set a relatively good lap, especially if he's actually burnt through the rest of his fuel here. I'm just keeping an eye out. He has actually got the red blinking light of doom, which means he will have less than a lap of fuel remaining in that Mercedes, rather that McLaren, sorry. So this is the disappointing thing. I'm just keeping an eye out on the Mercedes, is where I was going to get a bit confused here with Stonks at the moment. The Novus Racing driver looking to just try and power his way through this lap now, but he's going to have a lot of traffic in front of him and get into nearly a collision there with the Haas driver of Tim. And NLR Tim just caught completely off guard, did not know at all Stonks was coming, and Stonks is going to be so angry with the conditions on circuit now getting worse and worse, and his lap time now no longer going to count. Oh, I think he might be out of qualifying as a result, and Tim is certainly going to have a penalty on his way, surely, for that.
Definitely so, yeah. Really unfortunate, I've got to say that from Tim. Obviously, it's not the first time I've actually seen him block somebody in qualifying on this game cycle. He did it in PSGL just a couple of weeks ago, and he's done it here in WOR Console Tier 1 as well, so he has got a reputation of doing that. Tim, though, in 5th position. Stonks there in 17th. Looks like he's going to go again, the Mercedes man, but the track is just going to fall away consistently. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if drivers bail into the pit lane and are not improving on their runs. And Schumacher, just speaking of that, is 3/10 down already, coming through the first sector. You can already see down in towards turn number 4 and ball with him. The rain really impacting the circuit. Keki has done on a lap time as well. He's retired there in the pit lane, but the rain is already affecting the track surface. Schumacher's coming through this middle sector. He is going to be nowhere near. That was a one-shot qualifying session completely done. Schumacher's completely out wide, coming through the middle sector as well. Tom out on top, Kai Pearson in 2nd, Cameron Zoud's there in 3rd. I will be honest now and say nobody is improving on this track. The track is going away from the drivers. They may as well all come in, retire, and we can get an early start to the race, because Kai Pearson needs to go clubbing after this.
Yeah, obviously he might have to go clubbing on this one and obviously get everyone a round of drinks if he ends up winning this championship. But he keeps going now. Will Stonks though to try and set some kind of respective lap on the cards here. Schumacher retiring in the pit lane. He's happy with his 103.3. Lou retiring for Sauber, by the way, and he's not going to set a lap time, so he'll be starting 19th. Comes across the line, does Stonks 104.9. It's so far off the pace. The conditions of the track are certainly getting more treacherous, and I have a feeling that this might be it. Tudi is valiant effort to try and get out there and have another go, but I think he is also going to be out of qualifying here. So Brando just managing to sneak in the Alpha Tauri, but Joe Murphy will be almost breathing a sigh of relief that he's managed to sneak through in 14th through to Q2. But let's be candid, he is going to be in a little, scratchy head, I have to argue here, because he's going to be a little bit concerned, about his pace overall if he's still in the title hunt and he's down that far back.
Yeah, down in 14th position, Joe Murphy. Other title contenders, though, 2nd and 3rd on the grid. That's going to be very juicy coming down towards turn number 1 and through the first sector especially. Thomas spun there coming through the middle sector. Actually, I'm running ball with Tudi on his outlap there, and he has spun on the left-hand side, coming through turn number 7 and 8, coming through that curve. And look at the rain out on track. The rain is just falling completely heavily out on track. Tom, though, I think to celebrate, I think he's very happy with this lap time. He's a specialist around here in Austria, has done well in the past in Legacy Division, done well in the past in PSGL, done well in the past here in Console Tier 1. And Tom, you call him an Austrian specialist out on top. Kai Pearson there in 2nd, Cameron Zoud's there in 3rd. Now, I hope, Jota, we're not going to see a situation from one AlphaTauri man there in 2nd position. Going to be wasting about 9 minutes of the session that he's retired.
There it is.
He's fine. He knows he's going clubbing after this, so he has to try and retire. He hasn't got any NVR influence here tonight either.
Yeah.
Waiting on him and retiring. But it is Tom Ad on top, Kai Pearson second, Cameron Dad's there in third. Qualifying is already done. And Tim has retired. That means we're getting going early, which is always good. Early finish for us, early finish for the drivers as well. And we have got a mandatory restart, I believe. Actually, do we? I'm going to double check this. Tom Ad on top, though, from Kai Pearson in second. Cameron Dowd's there in third. 16 hundredths of a second, covering the top three. Gatkowski there in fourth. Tim there in fifth. Schumacher there in sixth. Matthew Hall there in seventh. Gabor there in eighth. Then Zolzo ninth, and Thomas covers the top 10. Flopman, Quantum, Furious, Joe Murphy, Brandock's top 15. 4/10 of a second covering them. Keke didn't really get a representative lap time in the end. Neither did Stonks. He's got a 5-place grid penalty. That was for collision, I believe, with 2D, if I'm not mistaken. 2D and Lou, 18th and 19th. Barack having a power outage, not joining the session, unfortunately. Means everything is going to go. We're going to go very soon out on track. But until then, we're going to have a word from our sponsors, Next Level Racing. We'll be back in around about 50 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to World Online Restart. We are here tonight for Console T1. It's Season 17. It is Round 8 of the Championship. It's the Austrian Grand Prix. And as you can tell by my introduction there, we're not going live out on track just yet because Choco was racing. Therefore, we are having a restart because of Choco starting. I think he's going to be starting at the back of the field, which means Stonks, with that 5-place grid penalty, is he going to be 19th on the grid as a result of Choco joining after qualifying? So, all up in the air at the minute, but what we can do is have a look through the championship standings. If you are just tuning into the stream and missed it early on, Kai Pearson out on top. He only needs 10 points above Cameron Dowds to win the championship here tonight. Now, that is going to be difficult first and foremost, Jota, because they're both qualified on the first and second row of the grid, respectively. Kai Pearson second, Cameron Dowds there in third. Cameron Dowds good around this track, Kai Pearson good around this track. I think they're going to even each other out here.
Yeah, no, they've got an opportunity, haven't they, to really sort of work hard here, but they've got to fight against Shizou Tom, who's actually been flying out there. It was a good qualifying session from him, but less than 16 thousandths of a second separating the top three in qualifying. It's going to make for a very, very, very interesting set of events. And the thing is, as well as that, remember, turn 1 and turn 3 isn't really exactly, the most open of corners. It's an overtaking spot, sure, but, on lap 1, it can get particularly perilous. So, reference maybe Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel in 2020. It was a pretty aggressive set of events happened there as a result of that collision. So let's see what happens, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to crown a champion tonight, and Gareth will be seething when he misses his opportunity, shall we say.
He will be indeed. He's probably somewhere in York right now, I believe. He said to me last week he's going to be at Brew York. So I'm not sure if he might be... Okay, yeah. I'm not sure if, 18 minutes past 8, he might be completely out of his mind right now in terms of being drunk from beer. But if he's not, and he's tuning in, then welcome along. But if he's not, then I'm sure we'll be catching up the action afterwards anyways. Looks like in the chat, there's a lot of Norwegian going on, I've got to say, in the chat. Volakongan's in there, Tom and Star Eyes there in the chat, because Tom out on top in terms of pole position. And Catastrophe and Manon there. Catastrophe might mean catastrophic, which hopefully is not going to be the word that's going to describe this race, Jota.
Potentially. I mean, it's going to be one of those sort of situations, isn't it, where the drivers have really got to work at their absolute limit to try and find, every ounce of pace available to them. It's one of those circuits where, there's very limited amount of corners for you to be able to earn time if you end up making a mistake. But if you end up finding every single apex perfectly, it will make for one hell of a race for certain. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing that battle between Kai and Cameron, and whether they decide to respect each other, or if Cameron's going to go all out to try and stop Kai from taking that championship tonight. And it may end up being a little bit catastrophe Manon, if you will.
Yeah, definitely so. We're having a lot of fun, as you can tell. We're not serious in terms of Legacy Division, as we normally are on a Tuesday. We are having a lot of fun with this stream so far. Currently got 17 drivers in the lobby. You've got an invite, Jota, I believe, as well into the lobby. So I'm sure we'll be getting him in very shortly indeed. Looking through the chat, Kai Pearson mentioning he almost spun at turn number 1 and cut turn 3 like it was a flat curb. So Kai Pearson's lap wasn't far from perfect. Tom was 4 thousandths ahead of him in qualifying. Cameron Dowd a further 12 thousandths behind Kai Pearson. So, taking that qualifying into perspective, the top 3 being separated by 1600ths of a second. A, I'm not surprised. It's Austria. They're normally close in qualifying. And B, I'm not really surprised either, because the top 3 who I would normally expect around here to be topping the grid in Austria are up there in the top 3. So I'm not surprised at all with what unfolded there in qualifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no surprises really, isn't it? That's Tom sort of leading up there alongside the championship leaders. Tom is actually in 5th in the standings, isn't he? Just by Liam Bowman. So it's no coinkydink that he's up there, because he's well deserved of his position. It's just that obviously Kai has been able to sort of string together not just the qualifying but the race this season as well. He's had an immaculate championship, but it's just about sort of wrapping it up here now, and whether he can just take that pressure, knowing that this could be the one. So just needs to make sure that he outscores Cameron Dowd by the points that he needs, and of course needs to stop Joe Murphy, who's had a really poor qualifying down in 14th as well. I'm wondering if he's felt the pressure a little bit of the event, but he certainly is going to be one to watch later down the line for certain, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. So, and obviously as well, with Tom being 5th position in the standings, 43 points to his name, behind Liam Bowman, behind Joe Murphy, still got an outside chance of a P2 if everything goes his way here tonight, which currently in qualifying it has. It's going to be really interesting, I think, though, to see what transpires out on track. There's a lot of talk about potentially mediums hards or hards mediums within this race. I know we covered the Legacy Division around here as well, I think, this season. And it was pretty much a dry race. I think it got toward the interstage right at the end of the race. We might see a little bit more rain here tonight as well. Volakongen there saying in the chat, my favourite Norwegian driver, I've got to say, in sim racing right now. Sorry to every other Norwegian sim racing driver that's out there. Everyone is a Tom Roberts fan. I've got to ask this serious question, though, to you, Jota. Are you a Tom Roberts guy rather than a Tom Roberts fan?
Tough. Well, you know what? That is a question and a half, isn't it? Everyone loves to be a Tom Roberts fan, I suppose. But Volakongen making a valid point about that, because I think, Tom Roberts is the kind of person who will display everything that you need from a driver, I suppose. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm just keeping a very firm eye, if you don't mind, though, on the situation with Cameron Dowd, I think, in this particular race, though, because I'm going to be keeping a firm eye on how he establishes his race now, James, because I think, is he going to go for that challenge, I wonder, against Liam Bowman, or is he going to think about the long-term game? If he goes for that challenge, maybe catch Liam off guard, maybe that will put him off for the entire race, because it's got to be about, pardon me, not Liam Bowman, I mean Kai Pearson, sorry, I'll get there in the end eventually, names everywhere. I do think Kai Pearson, if Cameron Dowd puts Kai Pearson under enough pressure, I could see, maybe a little bit of a mistake, maybe a little bit of head play in there. And I think if he does enough of a game maybe within the head, it could end up putting Kai Pearson off. But is he ice cold enough to be able to not let it phase him, I wonder? I'm really looking forward to this, actually. Turn 1, turn 3, I think is going to be a bit spicy.
Well, that's what we were talking about, me and Gareth, at the in the intermission last week as well. Whether or not Kai Pearson's actually got the mentality, because he does often make mistakes when he's under so much pressure. He does often make the odd mistake, and that odd mistake can really throw you out your rhythm. And we saw that last week in China. Actually, he got completely thrown out of his rhythm early on. Didn't expect to move up the inside line, and then ended up having to fight through, and basically ended up taking the race win on the final couple of laps of the race. He was ice cold in the right way last week. Whether or not he's got the consistency, though, is a different thing. I mean, I'm talking about him being consistency, and he's like 70-odd points clear of Cameron Dowds right now in terms of the championship. So it's a bit rich coming from me, who can't drive around this track to save my life. But we are going to get going into into the race now, out on track, because we are going into the lobby. Ron saying in the chat, I'm the biggest Tom Roberts fan. And James Head is the biggest Cameron fan. Yeah, I cannot confirm or deny those reports, to be honest, about me being the biggest Cameron fan out there. But he's a very good driver. And I'm going to bang on about him again right now because ERS is so important around this track. Tyre wear is so important around this track. It's much more minimal on this game compared to the last. But ERS is really important because we've seen drivers around here have 50-60% battery on the final lap of the race and use that up towards turn number 3, save a bit again, use it down in towards turn number 4, and go for the move around the outside. And Cameron Dowds, as I've been alluding to pretty much every single stream that I've done, he's the best ERS saver on this grid. So do not be surprised if he's got about 20-30% more battery compared to everyone else come the end of the race, if he's up there though.
Just keeping a firm eye on Gatkowski as well. He's a driver that I've been a massive fan of, obviously, for the Phoenix Igniters over in the Legacy division. He's always a driver that always seems to be in there, isn't he, Gatkowski? Always really putting the pressure on the front runners. He might not be in for the title this year, but he's certainly going to be one to watch in the next game cycle. And I wonder how he's going to take this race, actually, because he knows that he's got Tim behind him who's obviously going to have that stewarding inquiry against him, and Schumacher's obviously going to be in there wanting to fight. So Gatkowski, I wonder if he's going to try and put the two front runners under some pressure and say, you know what, you might be in for a title fight, but these are my positions as well, and I'm very happy to take points off you if you make a mistake. So if Cameron Dowds puts Kai under enough pressure and he makes a mistake, I'm sure Gatkowski will be very happy to take points straight out of his hands as well. So, and as I'm just looking down the rest of the field as well, Schumacher and Matthew Hall will be very happy to take points out of him as well. So this could be a little bit of a spicy affair through turns 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I reckon. So this is going to be a fun start, I think. Just keeping an eye on the tyre strategy as well, James. As well, plenty of hards on at the moment, but a few mediums here and there.
Yeah, I'd imagine most drivers, if they're starting us at a hard, it's going to be a dry race. It'll probably be transpiring toward the midpoint of the race. Around about lap 20-21, you could maybe expect drivers to come in for a set of medium compounded tyres. They can last around 20 laps around here, actually, so they might see drivers come in from a set of hards early just to try and negate any undercut strategy that might happen later on in the race from drivers that are quicker on that set of medium compounded tyres. Quantum in the chat, in the Discord, saying, careful guys, Schumacher's baiting hards. 5 red lights though are going to go out. Enough about Schumacher baiting hards. 5 red lights are going to go out though in WOR, console tier 1. And it is lights out and away we go. And Tom gets a very good start compared to Kai Pearson. But Kai, in the second phase of the start, tries to draw alongside. But he draws behind Tom in towards turn 1. Gatkowski already up the inside line. And Cameron Dowds trying to hold the inside line through turn number 1. Gabor there fighting with Schumacher. Matthew Hall getting in the mix as well. But here comes Kai Pearson to the outside line on Tom. Ice cold in his veins to the outside line in towards turn number 3 at Remus. Tries to now get the hill. Run down towards turn number 4. There's contact further down. I think Gabor has spun there. I think Keki, if I'm not mistaken, or Tim even. The other Haas man of Tim. The front 4 pulled away by 1.2 seconds. Here comes Tom on the attack. Down in towards turn number 4 once again. Cameron Dowds up the inside line of Gatkowski trying to fight the pole, but he can't fight the pole. The pole's through and he's into third. Cameron Dowds there in fourth. Kai Pearson leads through the first half of a lap. Tom there in second. Gatkowski there in third. Cameron Dowds in fourth. And you mentioned there with the tyres, Jota. Everyone's on a set of hards apart from that man in fifth who's threw his way through the field early. Schumacher's on a set of mediums.
Yeah, forever the aggressive driver is Schumacher, going on the aggressive strategy by starting on the medium versus everyone else on the hard. So he's going to be flying this early part in this race.
No.
Cameron Dowds did make a call. That's a mistake, as Joe Murphy, I think, has gone round as well. And that's the last thing he needs, and that might be his title fight already gone. Now, as a result of that one, Kai Pearson obviously getting the fastest lap of this race, but I did make the call about Gatkowski, make the good start on Cameron Dowds, and is happy to say, well, you're going to lose that position. That's mine now, son. And now he's going to face off against his teammate, unless he can make some inroads on Kai Pearson, as he just tucks in behind him.
Yeah, he just took him behind him indeed to try and save any ERS and just try and run into the ERS train throughout the field. It was Gabor that Joe Murphy got a couple in the instant. Joe Murphy to the inside line on Gabor. Ended up, I think Gabor not reading his half a car length alongside him. Joe Murphy there down the back of the field. Schumacher, though, on the bright, very close, I think, to the back of Cameron Dowd. We've got Thomas Covers trying to cover off the Red Bull man at Gabor, and he tries to cover him up to the inside line and towards turn number 6. Nice move that by Thomas Covers. Of course, PSGL, PSF2 man, and making his debut, I believe, here tonight in Console Tier 1. He's Looney's into 10th. Gabor there in 11th, and Stonks there right on the back of Furious, and Gabor is certainly going to be furious with that one, because Gabor's there down 11th, and Schumacher to the inside line, and Cameron Dowd's getting the move done. Through in towards turn number 9 and 10. Job done, he's Looney's into 4th. Kai Pearson leads Tom in 2nd, Gatkowski there in 3rd. DRS is now enabled, but not until they get down in towards turn number 4. In fact, actually, they use it up this straight.
Yeah, no, fair play to Cameron Dowds, actually. He just let Schumacher through. He knew that Schumacher was going to be faster at the moment and he's on the inverse strategy, so he's just let him through and focus on the race as he now makes an overtake on Gatkowski. Shazoo Tom now making roads to take the lead of this race as Schumacher putting Gatkowski under pressure, makes a double undertake, rather. I don't know the word for it. You know, Gatkowski loses a couple of positions. He's now down to 5th place. As Cameron Dowds is now going to go down the inside, going to put Schumacher under pressure. Later on the outside, Gatkowski, who gets a collision there from Matthew Hall and finds the inside line. I think Gatkowski caught napping a little bit there, but he stays in P5. He'll have the inside going through into turn 6, but then it will remain in that position. Switchback opportunity there, but Matthew Hall in the Alpine will stay in 6th.
Yeah, really respectful racing actually from Matthew Hall. He was up the middle. There's a snap of oversteer there from Gatkowski. Also an instant further down the field. Quantum right on the back of Matthew Hall, though. Run up the hill and towards turn number 9. Tom Lowe leads the way. Kai Pearson 2nd. Schumacher there in 3rd. There's a lot to try and delve into within this race already. And we're only on lap 4. Quantum there on the back of Matthew Hall. I was saying about Matthew Hall there. He was up the middle of both of them, running in towards turn number 4. He got ironed out in terms of the sandwich in towards turn number 4. That's why you see him behind Gatkowski still. Gatkowski ahead of him there in 5th and they're in 6th position. Michael saying in the chat, how can the graphics here look better than the official F1 esports streams? It's because my laptop is not overheating. That's for sure. It's Quantum is caught up with Flopman to the inside line. Flopman to the inside line. I think making contact with the McLaren of Quantum, who's now inside Zozo. Cover your eyes if you are of a certain age. Kai Pearson is through on Tom for the race lead as well. And Zozo tries to find the move done. He's through and he's into 8th, trying to find Flopman again. But Quantum getting caught up there in an instant with Flopman. Flopman being his usual aggressive self from Legacy Division.
Yeah, no, you've got plenty of drivers out there really putting the pressure on at the moment. F7R's Flopman with FVR's Zorzo at the moment battling quite hard, actually. Flopman cutting off the corner at turn 4 completely for Zorzo, so then Zorzo can't make any inroads and commit to the double overtake. Matthew Hall then holding on to P6 now as Gatkowski finds a little bit of a rhythm now in P5. Cameron Dowds holding off to the back of Schumacher, by the way. This is actually probably the best possible scenario for Cameron Dowds. He played genius move, actually, letting Schumacher through because that's now allowed him on the hard tyres to keep in contact with Schumacher. And also, therefore, with the DRS, keeping contact with Tom and Kai Pearson, who are now trading positions once again, going through into turn number 3. So there is that move done. Kai Pearson looking for the switchback. It's not there. Schumacher will keep on the inroads, but he's now starting to burn through his DRS pretty aggressively. He's got the lowest DRS of those that are actually in the top 10, actually, by the looks of things, as Schumacher is obviously on a more of an aggressive strategy, trying to burn through these medium tyres, perhaps switch onto a hard a little bit earlier than everyone else. We'll see what happens. Lap 5.
Yeah, lap 5 out of 36. Tom leads the way from Kai Pearson 2nd. Schumacher there in 3rd. A lot of lag kicking up actually from Cameron Dowds there in 4th. And that is why, because Gatkowski has left the session. The pole has left the session and we'll try and get him back in very soon indeed. Jota, if you've got him. Actually, I might have to invite him in. But Tom now leads the way. Kai Pearson 2nd. Schumacher there in 3rd. Cameron Dowds there in 4th. Hopefully Gatkowski has got a spare backup invite. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and he can get back in the stream. If not, I'll try and give him another invite when it calms down a little bit, as Tom leads the way from Kai Pearson 2nd. Schumacher there in 3rd. Schumacher, you mentioned there, burning through his ERS. He's got 50% less than Kai Pearson ahead of him, and he's got 40% less than Cameron Dowds behind him. So that is concerning for Schumacher. Whether or not he can try and save up that battery to good effect is a different thing, as Thomas Covers there. It's through on Quantum. There's also all hell breaking news there as well. Covers, I think, actually got caught up in an instant there with maybe Quantum or Gabor. I think it might have been his Red Bull teammate of Gabor running down the straight in towards turn number 4 now. Stonks on the back of Thomas Covers around the outside on the Mercedes, on the Red Bull even. Goes the Mercedes, tries to go all the way around the outside now in towards turn number 6. Is it the inside line? Beautiful move by Stonks in the end. Thomas Covers just enough unsettled that car. Stonks now through and he's into 11th. Thomas Covers through and he's into 10th. And Stonks with a stonking move around the outside of turn 4.
Yeah, nice work there from Furious Stonks covers as well. Good racing between all of them, but Gatkowski hemorrhaging positions as a result of that disconnection. Now down to 17th. It's such an unfortunate position to be in, considering how close he was in qualifying. But now his race, I think, is pretty much done and dusted. Joe Murphy still at the back in 20th, by the way. I think that's his season is over and done with. I don't expect him to be in that title hunt anymore. So it is all going to be about what happens between Cameron Dowds and Kai Pearson. Currently, as it stands, I believe Kai Pearson will still not be champion if the match all works out right. Schumacher is trying to get in there as well. And you know what, Schumacher, it'd be wise to do so now. He's got to seriously make some inroads. Gatkowski rejoins before he gets to the back of the grid by the looks of things, but Schumacher has seriously got to start making some inroads now against the front two, because otherwise they're going to be matching strategies and he's going to be on the weaker tyre on this second stint, so he needs to start making moves now. Otherwise, he's going to end up being towards the back at the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. So Gatkowski has got another invite into the lobby. That's why you saw me inviting him on the stream. He's also saying F this at this point. I don't really blame him, to be honest. But he is back in the session. He's now right down the back of the field now, but he is still on the set of hard compound tyres. So anything can happen in this race. There's still, what, 20 odd laps to go. Anything can still happen in this race. Gatkowski can fight his way through the field if he wants to as well. But Tom there leading the way, Kai Pearson second, Schumacher third, Cameron Dowds in fourth, Matthew Hall there in fifth, and Matthew Hall, as Gatkowski has retired, in fact, out on track. I wonder if that's a frame rate issue potentially that he has just had. Cameron Dowds though on the back of Schumacher, running up the hill in towards turn number 4. Is he going to look toward the inside line here on the back of the Williams? No, outside line is going to prevail. Might try and get the switch back out the corner, but Cameron Dowds doesn't want to put his car in a really bad position. He is going to try and use a bit of overtake mode up there down the straight in towards turn number 4, but Schumacher's just so quick coming out of the corner there down towards turn number 4. Cameron Dowds doesn't care though. Around the outside now, it's Schlossgold at turn number 4. Tries to go now on the outside line through 5 in toward the inside, which will turn now into turn number 6 to the inside line. Cameron Dowds up the inside line. The Flying Scotsman here tonight up the inside line of Schumacher. Those mediums are done. Cameron Dowds through, and he's into third. Cold-hearted killer like from Cameron Dowds, but Schumacher is not over and done with just yet up the hill.
Yeah, not done just yet. It's going to go through the next couple of corners. You'll see now where the medium tyres are now falling off to get the inroads done on front two, but he chose to just stick in behind, and as a result now he's going to realise, I should have made those inroads, I should have been able to try and pull that gap, but unfortunate now for Schumacher, he's going to start hemorrhaging time. Let's see what happens, going through the right hand and misses his apex ever so slightly, has to put the power down early, but ends up losing the rear ever so slightly, and that's inviting Matthew Hall into the mix. He uses his overtake as well. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1%. He cuts to the inside line. Matthew Hall potentially 3 wide into the corner. Getting into a little bit of a collision. Matthew Hall then holds on for P4. Schumacher has got no energy left in the Mercedes. Power unit in the back of that Williams. Matthew Hall now up to 4th, but Schumacher down to 5th. His teammate getting into the mix as well now. Here's Flopman around the outside, then going through into turn 4. Oh, it's a mistake from Matthew Hall. And then it gets cut off as a result, and his Flopman tries to hold on, but he will have the inside line. Is he going to get the double overtake into the corner? He's looking for it, but he will remain there to go side by side, and Schumacher relegated to 6th. Flopman stays in 5th, Hall up into 4th, and this is what happens when you don't make the inroads and you're on the alternate strategy, Schumacher.
That was cold, honestly, from his perspective there. It looks like Quantum is in trouble, potentially run up the hill in towards turn number 7 and 8. I wonder if he's got damage potentially on that car. I think he has. He's into the pit lane. Is Quantum. Not sure who it was with. It might have been it with Zolzo, if I'm not mistaken, or Gabor. One of them two. He's caught up an instant. He drops down toward the back end of the field. He's certainly got damage, I think, on that car, which is now repairable. It might be right side end plate damage on the car, but Kai Pearson leading the way. Here comes Zolzo, speaking of which, the man on the PS4 to the inside line on Schumacher. Schumacher getting very aggressive. Zolzo doesn't care though. Schumacher doesn't care about that either. Zolzo through, he's into 6th. Schumacher is just dropping and hemorrhaging positions throughout the field, and here comes the Boar into the mix as well, down the hill, in towards turn number 4. Schlossgold, the Red Bull, tries to fend off the inside line. The Williams will give him room to the inside. Gabor has the better exit, has the better traction. Easy as you like taking Andy from a Schumacher baby there. He's into 7th. Lou and Choco are side by side in the background, halfway down the field as well. Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo around the outside, now getting forced off nearly by Tim. Tim remains in 15th. Lou in 14th. Choco there in 13th. Choco will be wanting chocolate buttons after this.
Yeah, the Sauber getting forced off by Choco ever so slightly. The hand going up in frustration from the Ferrari, but Choco now up to 13th in this late joining race as well for him. Schumacher, he's hemorrhaging positions, not just because of the tyre situation. I think his tyres are now starting to fall off, but definitely. But the issue is not necessarily of his tyres, but also he's been far too aggressive now because he knows he's got no power left in that Mercedes power unit. He loses another position to Furious after making a mistake at turn 1. And instead of just taking the L, he decided to power through it. Is he going to go for the late break? He's looking for it, but he hasn't got any tyre tread whatsoever left, and Stonks makes the move, and now he's down to 10th.
He is down to 10th, and Stonks there up into 9th. Schumacher's now going to drop to 11th potentially, because here comes Brandox now to the inside line, in towards turn number 4. Schumacher may as well come into the pit lane and put on a set of hard compound tyres now to have a chance in this race. As Schumacher's now down into 11th, Brandox there into 10th, the Italian through, and he's into that 10th position. Breathe, everyone, breathe. We could breathe in the chat now. Clive Pearson leads the way, Tom there in 2nd, Cameron Dowd there in 3rd. The front 3 all remaining very high in terms of ERS. Kai Pearson at this moment in time, like he did in China, more ERS than Cameron Dowd at this stage, as Tom makes a mistake coming through the final couple of corners there at turn number 9 at the Rin curve. Now down towards turn number 10, now up towards turn number 1. He's just lost the tail end there of Kai Pearson. Could have been out to 8/10 per second. It's not. Kai Pearson, though, leading the way from Tom. Cameron Dowd's there in 3rd. Flopman now on the back of Matthew Hall, though. He's coming charging now at the back of the Brit. The Brit now is going to have to defend from the Frenchman. Is it going to be Alain Leblanc to the inside on the Alpine? Could be on 2 on Cameron Dowd's as well. Tries to get to the inside on of Cameron. Gets switched to each other. Caught in each other as well, coming down the hill and towards Somerville, but Flopman's got this. Flopman surely he's into 4th. Surely Matthew Hall's not fighting this back, and Flopman through and he's into 4th. That's the sort of moves Flopman needs to pull off if he's a real title contender. He's not here tonight in WOR, but he's through and he's into 4th, and he has got a bright future if he keeps his nose clean.
Yeah, you make a very good point about that title contention. There is actually a title-winning opportunity happening right now, and as it stands so far, Kai Pearson will be champion as it stands in not too long now, and then just under half of this race's time, as we've got a spinner, as Keke's gone for a spin at turn 4. Yes, as it stands so far, Kai Pearson will be champion. A mistake from Flopman, though, might invite Matthew Hall, by the way, in that battle for P4 at the moment. It's really, really all over the shop at the moment. I'm trying to fly around the screen to see where all the battle is happening at the moment, and it looks like certainly P4 is where it's at the moment, as Matthew Hall will keep up the pressure on Flopman, but Flopman has had a really good turn 1 as he just tries to welcome himself back into that battle for the front 3. As it stands, Cameron Dowd's putting Tom under pressure. Tom looking to just try and make that overtake potentially on Kai. Is he going to tuck in on the inside? He certainly will. He stays in P2.
Yeah, not going to go for the move. I don't think he will, to be honest, for the next few laps, to be honest. Keke there's into the pit lane. He retires out of the race as well after that spin. Disappointing from Keke. He got caught up in that lap 1 incident, and now he's towards the back end of the field. Tom looking to the inside line there, and Kai Pearson, cheeky-like, to the inside line is the Brit, or his fellow countryman. Cameron Dowd's there in 3rd. Currently an all British 1, 2, 3 if you count Cameron Dowd, even though he's Scottish. They're down in 3rd position. Flopman 4th, Matthew Hall there in 5th. Currently a Brit top 5, well, near enough a top 5. Flopman just being the one exception in that right now. Ollie Hornby saying in the chat, what a move. Yeah, brilliant moves further down the field as well. But Kai Pearson leading the way. Tom in 2nd, Cameron Dowd's there in 3rd. 13 out of 16 laps completed. Now we're going on to lap 14, and Kai Pearson now has to think about whether or not he tries to stretch Tom, stretch Cameron Dowd, maybe just drop a few off this pack, and then try and get a big undercut strategy on. He's a bit better than Tom, coming out of turn number 1. Tom now on the ERS, running up the hill and towards turn number 4. But the big important thing that I'm going to throw into this is Tom and Cameron Dowd, I know them very well, they will be in the same party. So even though it's not a team's championship, like Legacy Division, they will be working together to some extent.
Mediums have gone through their graining phase, by the way. Schumacher's just managed to save a little bit of ERS, up to 46% now. He's on the back of the queue of 12th place. Oh, I say that. He's just done a massive late breaker going through into turn 4. So he's obviously still struggling with these tyres now, but he's trying to take them as long as he possibly can here. I can't expect a medium soft. That would be a very bold strategy. So I think there is a hard tyre going to be imminently put on, if not at the end of this lap. I'm looking at here. It doesn't look like he's going to be coming in this lap, but it may be within the next couple of laps, and then a 20-lap stint on a set of hards to the end of this race. We will see. Chucks it through the right-hander, not coming into the pit lane this occasion, but the rear is starting to step out now on his understeering as well. So he's got under and oversteer at the moment of Schumacher. Mechanical grip is low, but his ERS now is back up to a relatively good standard, so he can at least stay within touching distance of the 11 cars in front of him.
Yeah, definitely so. Tom there on the back of Kai Pearson. Cameron Dowd on the back of Tom as well. Tom looking to the inside line. First attack in a while here from Tom. gets caught in a bit of oversteer. Now Cameron Dowds is going to have a full run, maybe with a double overtake down the inside line. It's 3 wide. I wish we had a better camera angle than this. Now it's 3 wide down the straight. We'll turn the timing tower off just to see this. Cameron Dowds to the inside line. Kai Pearson and Tom, I did say they would work together, and look what's happened the lap after. Kai Pearson, though, is going to have to try and use up a bit of battery to the inside line. Tries to get to the inside of Tom. They're going to make contact if they're not careful. The two title contenders are side by side. Now coming through turn number 7. Now into the right-hand turn right. It's really fair racing between them both, and it's the Scotsman that comes out on top. Cameron Dowds soon, he's into second. This championship fight not over and done with just yet. Cameron Dowds, Tom working brilliantly as one. Kai Pearson will feel very hard done by, but there's still 21 laps in this race left, so all hell's going to break loose later on.
Yeah, the RBPT power unit, though, in the back of that AlphaTauri got plenty of electrical energy, but so has the Ferrari power unit in the back of the Ferrari for Cameron Dowds at the moment. Shazoo Tom also plenty of ERS available in the Aston Martin Mercedes power unit. Here comes a switch back then, and then goes across down to the inside line. Cameron Dowds now leading this race around the outside. Tom will go, but he will remain. I think in P2 will he have the traction out the corner? He will, you know, so they might have a little bit of a switch here, as Kai Pearson would be wise not to put too much pressure on the two of them in front. He doesn't need to put too much pressure here. Kai is still the champion as it stands so far, so he doesn't need to battle too hard, as Cameron Dowds will remain here. And Matthew Hall trying to get in the battle. He wants to welcome himself in this battle against Flotman. Up to P4 though, in the F7R man of Flotman will have to go down the inside line of the next corner. Oh, he's understeering, he's understeering. He's not still there though at the moment around the outside line. Matthew Hall will still remain around the outside. They're still side by side on the pair of them at the moment. It's great racing between these guys in this crossplay Tier 1 championship race here in Austria. Thank you very much for being alongside us. Here it is, as they're still there and they end up touching. And Flotman will end up conceding the position. Or will he? As he goes side by side once again on the switch back at turn 10. And Flotman remains in P4. Great racing between the pair of them. Fantastic.
Absolutely brilliant, and there's nothing more you can do than running too wide through turn number 9 and force another driver out on track. It's simply impossible to go side by side through there, not make a little bit of contact. Cameron Dowds through, and he's into the lead of the race on the back of Tom as well. Zozo looking to the inside line, and Matthew Hall, his own teammate there, forced out wide, near enough. Verstappen Leclerc like back in the day around here in real life, and now Gabor is going to join in the fight as well. Tom going to try and attack Cameron Dowds down the straight and towards turn number 4, not going to get the move done there. Gabor though to the inside line, trying to fend off the attention to Matthew Hall to his outside line. Matthew Hall and Gabor are still side by side. This is brilliant racing throughout the field. Gareth, Joe, you are missing out on an absolute treat here. Gabor there on the back of Matthew Hall, still trying to fend off the attentions, and he does for now. Gabor there in 7th, Furious there in 8th, and Furious now all of a sudden latching onto the back train as well. But Cameron Dowds leads the way, Tom in 2nd, Kai Pearson there in 3rd. Nobody coming in for a set of mediums just yet throughout the field, certainly in the top 10 at least. Everyone else, though, Schumacher is in. Schumacher is finally into the pit lane. Set of hard compound tyres will come on. Dead on at the halfway stage. Stonks to the inside line and Furious down and towards turn number 1. The Mercedes going hammer and togs into turn number 1. And it's Stonks to the inside line. Furious now going to be Furious because he's got Brandox right up his backside. Now up his chuff to the outside line. In towards turn number 3. Yeah. 2D there trying to get in the fight as well. But Brandox back to the outside line. Furious around the outside on Stonks. Not quite, but he's still going to be side by side running down the hill and towards turn number 4. This is from Brandox's view. On board with the two Mercedes going down the hill. Furious and Stonks are still side by side. Still as they're going towards turn number 4. Furious around the outside. Stonks to the inside line. Ghosts inside of each other. And Stonks has dropped through the field. I wonder if he's having an issue potentially.
Yeah, I think that might end up being, he's stepped into AI and looking at how he's breaking in. AI is breaking and inputting here, so I think we've got a disconnection about to happen here for Stonks, as that is looking very much like the car is lagging all over the shop here. Yeah. Can't see the acceleration input, which is just static now, so I think he might be back in this lobby, but he's lost a bucket load of time and positions. The two LPs have switched because Zozo is coming into the pit lane. A quick correction on what I said earlier on. As it stands so far, Kai Pearson will not be the champion because Cameron Dowds is therefore outscoring Kai Pearson by 10 points, which is exactly what Cameron Dowds needs. So Tom, being the person in 2nd place at the moment, is actually helping Cameron Dowds to stay in this championship fight. Rightfully called, by the way. There goes the disconnection for Stonks. Looks like he was always going to disconnect, as Schumacher somehow gets a 3-second time penalty on his way out of the pit lane by the looks of things. In fact, no, pardon me, he pitted 1 lap ago, didn't he? So he track extended at turn 10, and that has now brought him into the 3-second penalty as well. We've got another retirement, and it is for Thomas Covers, who's retired in the pit lane as well. So we've got plenty of retirements and plenty of disconnections happening, but this race is still certainly going on. And as it stands so far, the next race is where we might be crowning a champion. As it stands, Kai Pearson will not be crowned champion with this position in P3. He needs to, at the moment, He needs to get P2 if he wants to be champion tonight.
Yeah, as it stands, though, but Tim, Schumacher, Zolzo, Gabor, they could all have a big undercut compared to these guys. Matthew Hall's going to follow in along with that. I think Furious into the pit lane there as well. Now in toward the right-hand with turn number 9 and 10. Up the inside on they go into the pit lane, and both of them are into the pit lane. So they respond early. Undercut around here. The further you go on, say compared to Zolzo and Gabor, for example, if they go, these guys go 3 laps more than what they're going to. So lap 23, say they come into the pit lane. Zolzo, Gabor, Schumacher, Tudi are all going to be ahead of these guys. And the undercut strategy around here is so potent enough where you can gain about 4 seconds over those 3 laps. So this is going to have to be very carefully produced from the top 4 out on track. Tom just remaining behind and Cameron Dowds for now. Kai Pearson flop on their 3rd and 4th. Really good racing out on track. It's a bit like a Legacy Division race, to be honest, this. The front 4 separated by, what, a